All hail.
Now this one's going to shock you. Me making a video about a post I saw on Facebook that contained boomers being ignorant, stupid, and obnoxious. I know, shocking, right? I've never made videos like that before. So a post went up on one of the New Zealand media pages, I think it might have been News Talk ZB, but that's really irrelevant, about how, again, it's summer in New Zealand and there are fruit picking jobs down south available, and once again nobody wants to go down and do these jobs. There are a bunch of unemployed people in New Zealand, yet these jobs are free, these jobs are able to be done by anybody, yet nobody wants them. And instead of asking why, the comments section is full of boomers, and before anybody goes, how do you know they're boomers? Because nobody that was replying to me when I said it's not that people are lazy, it's that people don't want to do shit jobs. The responses were all from people with grey hair who look to be above the age of 55. And again you get the usual gobbing off about how, well, in my day we used to work 20-hour days in the snow. Now, it didn't snow in this part of the country, but I think my employer made an artificial snow machine just to make life even harder in the middle of winter. Or, I worked 3 jobs. Like one woman was going at me about 3 jobs. She worked 3 jobs back in the day, and this was probably the mid-80s. And yet a bunch of other oldies throwing in, no people are young. You had the old classic, young people are afraid to put in a hard day's work. Citation needed. And just more of the usual rambling boomer crap, where a bunch of arrogant oldies assume they know it all when they don't. The usual useless, arrogant boomers who want to cast all young people into the same boat, claiming they're all a bunch of lazy, useless fuckwits. Never mind the fact that most of the hardest working people I've worked with are young people in their late teens and early 20s. I would certainly say a lot of the kids I work with nowadays are a fuck ton more mature when it comes to work, and work a fuck ton harder than I did when I was their age. So I don't buy this all young people are lazy bullshit. But there's more to it than just nobody wants to do the work. And the New Zealand media loves pushing this narrative of there's plenty of work but nobody wants to do it. But there's more to it than that. And a lot of it involves people asking questions and not wanting to be dicked over by their employer, which is honestly seems to be an increasing sentiment nowadays, that people don't want to be dicked over by their employers, and what's in it for me when it comes to my employment. See, I come across posts like this. And let's not bullshit. If it's coming from news media in some way, shape or form, it's gonna have a bias in some way. And the bias that seems to come out of this country every so often is there's plenty of jobs available, it's just nobody wants to do them. For some reason, these employers can't find staff. Nobody wants to accept the jobs and there's worker shortages. Now, as is par for the course with boomers and their arrogance, a lot of these comments from people 50 and over are, young people are lazy, it's lazy young people don't want to work, the jobs the young people just don't want to do them, young people are hopeless when it comes to actually getting off their ass. You know, the same lame stereotypes that boomers have convinced themselves are true about young people being lazy. The ones they have no proof of, but, you know, young people bad. And as is part of the course with the older generation, they don't ask questions about what they're being presented. They just mouth off without having a clue what they're talking about. See, going by this article, right? Yeah, there's ample jobs to do seasonal fruit picking. There's ample fucking jobs picking kiwi fruit, whatever. Which is great at face value. And if you look at it at face value, it's easy enough to go, yes, sweet, why wouldn't you just rock up, go, give me a job, and take the job. However, the conditions are as such. Minimum wage, 12-hour days, whether dependent on whether you work or not that day. You need to live down there where the fruit picking takes place. The employer does not pay for your accommodation. That comes out of your pocket. So not only do you need to haul ass from wherever you live, you then need to pay your own way down there. The long story short version is, it's a shit job with shit working conditions and shit pay. So it's obvious why nobody wants the job, and it's obvious there's more to it than just young people lazy, but boomers are just ignorant, arrogant assholes, and so their line becomes, this must be telling the entire truth, therefore young people lazy. But see, the younger generation tends to do this whole fact, logic, and reason thing, right? Like, I find a lot of older people will just be handed a story by the media and they'll go, yep, cool, okay, this is obviously true. Younger people will go, something doesn't sound right here and I'm going to look into this more. And oftentimes, what's being presented as news has a bias behind it. But that's not the point I'm trying to make here. The point I'm trying to make here is, it's not that young people are lazy, and it's not that this job is available for anybody who wants to work it. People nowadays, because of the cost of living, and because of the whole cost versus earning deal, will question jobs. And instead of just mindlessly going in and acting like, oh, thank you, wonderful employer, for giving me a shit pay, shit hours, shit conditions, a shitty contract, I'm just happy to have a job. People will go, okay, I'm working for you, which means I'm doing you a favour. Yes, you've done me a favour to an extent by employing me, but I am making your money for you. So what the fuck are you going to do in return for me as an employer? How does me forfeiting my time and effort equate to a reward for me? And I don't give a fuck if people want to say that's selfish. It's 2024. You have to look out for yourself first and foremost. You work your ass off, you fall down, you get a fucking broom and get fucking swept out the door by some other cunt who then replaces you as soon as you've keeled over and dropped dead. I'm exaggerating, of course, and that was rather morbid, but you get my point. Why the fuck should you bust your ass for minimal return? The living wage is meant to be fucking 26 bucks. Minimum wage in this country is some shit like $22.50 or something. I could be wrong. I haven't been on minimum wage for fucking years. But minimum wage is far below living wage. And people want young people to just bowl up to employers and go, okay, I don't give a shit if you're exploiting the fuck out of me as a worker. Give me a job, just so I can impress some old people online who don't have a fucking clue how society actually works. And you explain it to these idiots, and you say to them, well, actually, dumb fuck, it's not young people lazy. Here's what the story is, and here's why this is a crap job. You then get met back with some bullshit about how back in 1970 or 1980 or whenever the fuck, this idiot was working 3 jobs, making $5.70 an hour if they were lucky. And that did them just fine. And the problem is these people, again, are too stupid and arrogant to understand that being exploited by your employer and willingly let it happen isn't the flex they seem to think it is. People are smarter nowadays. People ask questions nowadays. People don't just do what the fuck they're told without asking questions nowadays. So, people will get given honest answers, and sometimes those honest answers are shit answers. And that makes people go, well, nah, fuck that. And I mean, as for people on the dole, oh yeah, they can take this job and get off the dole. If I'm given the option of being slightly sweated by whatever the fuck Working Income New Zealand's calling itself these days to get a job, but I can still get given my dole money until I can find a job, or pissing off down south and losing money, working shit hours, and fucking being paid peanuts, I'm staying fucking home. Like, I'm not going to fault anybody on the dole looking at this turning their nose up, because it's shit. I mean, 12 hours a day. Fuck that. Okay? When I was down home in my job as a duty manager for a department, I was expected to work 11-hour days, and that fucking sucked. Because by hour 10, I was ready to go face down at my computer, up in my office. And by the time I got home, I was so utterly cooked I didn't have the energy to do anything. I was barely cooking for myself. I would go to bed at 8:30 and then just conk out completely. And I'd spend my 2 days off trying to recover. Now bang another hour on that, and yeah, you would be absolutely fucking cooked after 12 hours. You would expect at least the money would make up for the hours you're doing, and it doesn't. Again, minimum wage versus cost of living. If it was cost of living, I might consider it. If you threw in accommodation, fucking A. If it was semi-crappy hours but with good pay and accommodation paid for, that would be an attractive job. If it were reasonable hours, decent pay, accommodation paid for, still not bad. But the fact that you're getting peanuts, being overworked, and being forced to pay out of your own pocket for accommodation for a job which isn't going to be fucking permanent, what's the fucking point? It's not young people are fucking lazy. It's that young people are smart enough to actually have conditions on their own employment. There might be jobs out there, and if people want to do those jobs, power to them. They can do those jobs. No faulting them for wanting to do those jobs. But if it's a shit job, most people nowadays aren't just going to go, hi ho, it's off to work I go, allow my boss to exploit me and smack me like a hoe. They're going to go, nah, fuck it, I'll keep looking. And wait until something decent comes along. My job's not fucking glamorous. But the pay's good, the hours are good, I'm finding it harder to show up and not punch some of the people I work with, but it's a decent enough job, and that's why I do it. The job down home sucked, so I made a point of trying to get the fuck out as quickly as I could. The role I had in the same store before that was fun, and I enjoyed it. The tech support job I worked was fucking horrific, and again, I hauled ass as soon as I could. And that's a case of this. Shit hours, shit pay, no reward for me. That was me working my ass off, slogging my guts out, getting fucked over by my employer. And for what? A sense of ego? Fuck off, okay? I know it's a cliche turn of phrase, but you fucking work to live. You don't live to fucking work. People want to spend more time doing things they love. People want to get paid well. People don't want to be fucking exploited. And as numbers get tighter in terms of people's finances and shit, and as people get smarter about how some bullshit in society is in fact bullshit, then the more people are going to ask questions and the more crappy jobs aren't going to get filled. Employers are having to, more and more in the current day, tune rolls up, sort shit out, fix their sucky employment conditions to make it more appealing and to be more fair to employees. People nowadays aren't so dumb that they're willing to walk in and be exploited. And I don't know whether this is a fucking generational thing, where their generation were just stupid, or if it just came with gullibility. Because again, there's that whole media thing where they blindly follow the media. There's a lot of questions I want to ask about the earlier generation because I don't think they quite think things through like this. They don't ask themselves questions like, was I being taken the piss out of? I mean, if you've got to work 3 jobs, back then, yeah, you are probably getting taken the piss out of by your employers. And how the fuck much do you hate having free time to work 3 jobs? Why would you even be in the fucking position to work 3 jobs, say 20, 30, 40 years ago? I don't get it. Again, not the fucking flex these people seem to think it is. It's not a case of young people are lazy. It's not a case of nobody wants to do these open jobs. It's a case of these jobs suck and people aren't stupid or gullible enough to walk into shit jobs, give up their freedom, give up their happiness to be fucking exploited by some rich cunt giving them the bare minimum, these scraps of their labour, and be expected to do it with a smile on their face. It's not laziness. People are getting smarter. And if the older generation would understand this, pull their heads in and stop thinking they're fucking geniuses because they can run their mouths off when they don't understand shit, they'd be on easy street. Thank you for listening to me ramble. I'm Damian Skyfire. Till next time.